Welcome to Legally Speaking. I'm your host, Sophia Haynes. Legally Speaking is a public service of You and the Law, a nonprofit whose mission is to provide information and resources to empower you in your legal affairs. Although we provide legal information, it is in no way intended to be legal advice. So if you have a legal situation, make sure that you retain the service of a licensed attorney. December is Resources Month on Legally Speaking, and we're highlighting organizations that provide legal services to the population. And we have Miss Elizabeth Whipple with the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation with us today. By way of introduction, Liz is the director of the Domestic Violence Project Safe Families Office at the Fulton County Courthouse, directly and indirectly representing survivors of intimate partner violence. Liz trains volunteer attorneys who represent survivors of intimate partner violence, elder abuse, and stalking. She also supervises third-year law students representing clients and acts as an in-court resource for volunteer attorneys. She also manages the day-to-day operations of a walk-in office in the courthouse that assists approximately 2,500 people per year. Liz received her JD from the University of Alabama and her undergraduate degree from Georgetown University. While a law student at Alabama, Liz participated in a year-long clinic representing low-income victims of domestic violence with family law issues in 8 rural counties. Prior to joining the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, she was a staff attorney with the Georgia Center for the Homeless, where she focused on family law and housing issues. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us and talking about the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, but specifically the area that you work with, the Domestic Violence Project Safe Families Office. Could you tell, and it is a program of the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation.
That's right.
So what is the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation?
We are a nonprofit organization in Atlanta dedicated to providing low-income individuals and families with legal representation in a variety of cases. And we do it with sort of large-scale pro bono projects that we organize and then pull volunteer attorneys from the private bar in the greater Atlanta area to actually represent these clients.
Great. So let's talk about some of those programs where you need to pull people in with. Okay. Let's start first of all in your area. What is the Safe Families Office?
The Safe Families Office is sort of the functioning arm of our domestic violence project. And what it is a space that the Fulton County Courthouse and the Family Division have been nice enough to grant to us that we run in conjunction with Partnership Against Domestic Violence, another organization in Atlanta that provides resources to survivors of intimate partner violence. But functionally what it means is that we are in the courthouse to provide services directly to people who are coming in need of protective orders. And we serve specifically people in intimate partner violence situations, elder abuse cases, and child abuse. Okay, so you're providing protective orders, and for the individuals who don't know what that is, what is that? A restraining order. When you think restraining order,
we
say protective order.
We'll give you the proper name. But
when you walk in, ask for a protective order. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about that process. How does that happen? How do you get referrals? How do the people get to you inside the courthouse in Fulton County?
I think typically people can be coming from and have been pointed to the courthouse for a protective order from different sources, from law enforcement, from family, from work, from friends. And what happens is you walk into the courthouse and you know you've been told to come down there, and that's well you know. And that's a little bit of a scary thing to have to do. You know, the courthouse is an intimidating place for most people. And, you know, sometimes I'm still intimidated and I work there every day. Things seem confusing and it's a big place with a lot going on. But what we do is you'll get referred to our office if you're one of those categories: intimate partner violence, child abuse, elder abuse. And we sit down with you, and we are the staff in our office, which is an advocate from Partnership Against Domestic Violence, myself, and then a lot of volunteers. Not at that phase, not really volunteer attorneys, a lot of law students, a lot of graduate students, maybe people retired from the legal community, you know, sort of all walks of life volunteering in the office to help people when they walk in. But what you're seeking the day that you walk in is some immediate relief, which we are often able to get you. When you want a protective order in Georgia, you come down to the courthouse, you file a petition for a protective order and a bunch of paperwork, and that's what we're there to help with.
Okay.
One of the things we're there to help with. But you actually get to see a judge the day you come in, and that judge has the ability to grant you a temporary protective order.
And that's good to know, because a lot of times people think, what good is it going to do? But you can actually get a protective order that day, and you have somebody to help you with the paperwork to be able to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit. You mentioned something that I'm seeing a lot in the news lately, and that's elder abuse. Mm-hmm. And what exactly is elder abuse?
Elder abuse is really what it sounds like. Older people, and in the cases that we're doing, are being abused by family members. It's not always family members. The cases that we are helping with are. And I think maybe with the worsening economy, a lot more sort of grown children were moving home, moving back in with their elderly parents. And so we've started seeing a lot more cases like that. So we'll have elderly folk come down who really just need some protection from a person that's living in their house and mistreating them.
So is it more financial or physical that you're seing on the elder abuse side?
It can be both. I mean, the ones we're seeing tend to be physical and emotional, for sure. I think a lot, they'll have an adult child with addiction issues, or who knows, a variety of reasons that things are just not going well, and they're being treated poorly, and they're afraid in their own homes. So
you're seeing a rise of petitions for elder protective orders?
I mean, I see enough that that I notice for sure. Still, the bulk of the cases that we're doing are intimate partner. So whether live together, have a child together, married, used to be married. Those are still the bulk of the cases that we see and that we help with. And so, when people come in, it's not just protective order mill. We're not just there filling out paperwork and sending you along to a judge. It's really, the intent of our office is to be a lot more than that. You could fill out papers on your own if you really needed to.
Yeah.
What we're there to do is figure out, one, is a protective order really what you need? And so we sit down and find out what's been going on, what's brought you down to the courthouse, what your goals are, and really, is this the best way to achieve them?
Okay.
Because a lot of people, you haven't thought it fully through. A protective order isn't always the right thing for everyone. You may have a circumstance where someone getting served with a protective order, someone who's been abusing you, is just going to make things worse.
Yeah.
So we want to talk that through. We also want to talk what else, because a protective order can't shield you from everything.
Yeah.
And so we want to safety plan, and when we say that, we mean...
Yeah, what is a safety plan?
It can be anything. It's really evaluating your life, your circumstances, and figuring out ways to keep you safe. Whether it's start taking new routes to work, or something, like move. You move yourself, you move your children to a different school. It can be, talk to your coworkers, let them know what's going on. Sometimes you're never going to be comfortable doing that. If we can't do that, how do we keep you safe at work? And really trying to figure out the reality of your day-to-day life and what can change about it, what can't. And with those facts, keeping you in a safe place. Sometimes it's we're gonna, you need to go to a safe house.
So who do you partner with to help you with this mission between safety planning and protective orders and things of that nature?
Well, we're lucky to have Partnership Against Domestic Violence in our office on the ground. They have a full-time legal advocate there and plenty of volunteers. But Partnership Against Domestic Violence also runs 2 safe houses, and they have housing programs and all sorts of things for survivors. So when someone walks into our office and they're terrified and they know this protective order is it, and the person's going to know that they're trying to leave, we need to keep them safe, because statistically speaking, when someone tries to leave an abusive relationship, it's the absolute most dangerous time. I think the mortality possibility goes up by like 75%. It's something really, really scary. So it's a super scary time. So if we can, and you want to be somewhere safe right away, we can pick up the phone and see if there's a spot in one of the safe houses and get you there.
So it sounds like you coordinate all the resources. So they come to you, they should be able to get to something that can help them.
Our intention is to get you what you need. If we can provide it, we hope we can. If we can't, to get you in touch with the agency or the person that can. Absolutely.
So if I don't live in Fulton County and I happen to fall into the Safe Families office in the Fulton County Courthouse, is there a way that you can direct me to where I can get some help?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge part of what we do. In order to file for a protective order in Fulton County, the person you're filing against has to live in Fulton County. A lot of folks come down because they live in Fulton County, but unfortunately they're abusers in DeKalb, so they've got to go there. But reality is, we don't want anyone walking out of this office without some sort of safety plan, or be like, can we do anything right here, right now? Because you're here.
Yeah.
And it's a big, it's a huge chunk out of your life to take time off from work, or come down while the kids are in school and you got to be there to pick them up. And you're down here and you're looking for help, and it's to hear you're in the wrong spot is a very deflating thing to hear when you're vulnerable.
Because it takes a while to acknowledge I need help and then actually go and get something.
Exactly right. I mean, I think you're easily exhausted, and we want to be able to keep you in that frame of mind to help yourself to get where you need to be. But so we need to provide some support along the way.
Oh, wow.
So, and then of what we also do, and the bulk of what sort of the AVLF mission is to provide volunteer attorneys for survivors of intimate partner violence and abuse.
So what can I expect when I walk in? Okay, Ms. Whipple, I'm ready. I need a protective order. I'm scared. So what exactly are you going to do with me? What am I going to leave out with? And what's the next step?
When you walk in that day, you're going to sit down. We're going to talk about your case with either me or the Partnership Against Domestic Violence Advocate or one of our trained volunteers. We're going to talk out your case. We're going to explain what a protective order does. We're going to explain what it doesn't do. Figure out what else you need to do to keep yourself safe. And we're going to write a petition. We'll write it as best we can with the story you provided, because we want something that a judge is going to read, understand, gather the import of, so that she's willing to grant a protective order. We fill out all the filing forms, anything you need in that courthouse, just strategically we're going to get done so that you don't have to worry about it. And then we're going to escort you to see a judge. We want you to feel like someone's there with you, and not have that sort of natural intimidation when you walk up to the bench and see a judge in her robe and she swears you in. And so we're there for that. You tell your story, we file everything, you walk out that door with a copy of your protective order in your hand.
So how long is that for, and when do I have to come back?
That protective order is good for up to 30 days. And really it's probably good until the next hearing that gets scheduled, because there has to be a second hearing within the 30 days.
And why is that?
The beauty of a protective order is that, and this what we call an ex parte or one-sided protective order that you can get temporarily, is that you get emergency relief the day you need it. The reality is, though, the other side has to get served and have notice of what's going on, and then have an opportunity to tell their side of the story.
Obviously.
The dreaded, second hearing is you come back to the courthouse, you have a full evidentiary hearing. You have to put on evidence if you have any, if you have witnesses, you're subject to the rules of a courtroom. And that's a pretty scary prospect, especially when you're going to be facing the person that's been abusing you. And so what we do in those cases, and try and do as in as many as we can, is find volunteer attorneys who we've trained, who are participants in our program, who will represent you in those hearings.
Okay, sounds great. So I can come in, get a protective order, but I know that's only the first step of the process. But then I do have some help on the second half.
And hopefully, we can try and find you an attorney. We can get you an attorney.
Right.
Who
and
knows
after this show, we're going to get a whole bunch of them coming in there helping you out. Okay, we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, I want to talk about some of the other programs that Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers have. We'll be back in just a few seconds. You are tuned into Legally Speaking, a public service of You and the Law. You and the Law is a nonprofit whose mission is to provide legal information and legal resources to empower you in your legal affairs. If you would like to have a question answered or a topic featured on Legally Speaking, feel free to contact us online at www.youandthelawtoday.org. You can also sign up there on our website for our mailing list, as well as follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Remember, with every right comes responsibilities, so know your rights and accept your responsibility. Welcome back. We're talking to Liz Whipple with the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation about some of the programs they have. And prior to break, we were talking about the Safe Families Office, where all the domestic violence victims can come and help and get protective orders, or if you have an elder abuse situation, you can get protective orders and things of that nature. So now, Liz, we want to talk about some of the other programs that you have at the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation. Could you tell us a little bit about the Saturday Lawyer program?
Sure. The Saturday Lawyer program is, again, an opportunity for volunteer attorneys from the wider legal community to come in and take cases for pro bono purposes. So they're not charging. They're using their expertise to help folks with a variety of issues. Consumer law, landlord-tenant issues, illegal eviction. They can address a variety of topics. And what happens is that you can meet on Saturday morning. There'll be a group of lawyers, and they're willing to talk to you about your case. Sometimes they're there to provide whatever information you need on the spot. It might just be some legal advice and talking out your case. Sometimes you're going to walk away with an attorney who's going to represent you in a case going forward. Okay, and
so how can I take advantage of that? Do I just show up on Saturday, or is there some other
process?
That would
be chaos. No, of course there's another step to it, but you call Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, and our phone number's on our website, avlf.org, and they'll do a screening process on the phone. And if your case fits for the program, and they'll make an appointment, and you'll have a time to come down on Saturday morning and meet with your attorney.
Sounds great. Now let's talk about eviction defense. What is that?
Well, eviction defense is exactly what it sounds like. If you are subject to an eviction, you've gotten a notice on your door, and you don't feel that it's correct, that you're supposed to, then Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation may be able to assist you. We have tons of attorneys trained, some large projects at some big firms where people are super dedicated to this program of trying to keep people in their homes. And so they will walk with you through the process. They'll go to court with you and fight for you and to try and keep you at home, you and your kids.
Good deal. Okay. What about wills and probate? And I think there's a lot of things where people it's a big push about trying to people to get their affairs in order.
For sure.
Any services you provide under the wills and probate process?
We do assist people with wills. We do tons of projects throughout the year. We tend to do outreach projects for wills, maybe at a certain location, at a retirement home, or in certain parts of the community, assisting people with high risk jobs, firefighters, police officers, the elderly, perhaps certain sick populations, trying exactly what you said to get their affairs in order when they need them, and help with wills and advance directives so that they can have everything tied up.
And advanced directives, what is that?
Advanced directives are, I think, probably you'll think of as living wills.
Okay.
But it's something, and it's a document where you express your desires for your own medical treatment. If you become incapacitated and someone else is in a situation where they have to decide what, and direct a doctor what to do. An advanced directive is your expressed desires that person is to act on.
Okay. And so I can get help getting that too at the Atlanta Volunteer Law?
You can.
Y'all do everything. Oh, no. Okay. What about the little children? You have anything Lawyers for Children, guardian ad litem type stuff?
We do. We have a guardian ad litem program that I think is pretty fantastic. It's for Fulton County, for low-income individuals who are finding themselves in a divorce or custody battle, we'll say. And what a guardian ad litem does is they're a third person appointed basically to represent the interests of the child that's at issue in a custody dispute. Because, think about this, when you think about the circumstances of going into court and having a judge decide who gets your child and when you get to see your child, you see a judge for a very brief period of when you're going through this huge important process. What a guardian is appointed to do is basically act as an advisor to the judge for what would be in the best interest of that child. What sort of arrangement with parents, and who should be providing what, and how visitation will happen, and they're able to really spend time with the child, with the families, with the schools. You know, you're able to go out and talk to whoever in that child's life has input on what their needs are and how they'd best be met.
So you can make a valid recommendation to the court.
Oh, that's the idea anyway. I hope, yes.
Okay, so I hear a lot of projects. How can, if I'm a private attorney, how can I get involved if I want to plug in and be a Saturday lawyer, or I know landlord tenant, or I love children, you know, how can they, is there an official process with Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers? So if I wanted to come in, I heard you say a lot about some trainings that are happening. So what is the process if I'm an attorney and I want to participate in this great work you're doing?
That's actually really easy. If you, again, go to our website, avlf.org, there is a one-page volunteer form that you can fill out, and you can check off the kinds of programs you'd be interested in. And it doesn't have to be a program that you have background in. Honestly, our trainings are built to train attorneys who do other things to do these things. I mean, if I was limited to attorneys who do domestic violence work in their everyday practice, I'd have, you know, it would be a very lonely office. But we have attorneys, you know, do tax law, corporate, bankruptcy, you know, all sorts of things, and they're coming in and doing these kinds of cases. So we do trainings throughout the year. For all the programs have different schedules, so once you contact us, we'll contact you back with our next available training.
Oh, wow. So you will train me and give me new cases and all of that.
Oh, okay, you better believe we will.
Okay, so there's all the excuses are gone. That is avlf.org, ladies and gentlemen, and I will put that as a link on our website so you don't have any excuse on what was that website she said? avlf.org. Okay, so if I'm a member of the public and I want to get involved, is there a way to donate, volunteer, or anything like that with AVLF?
Absolutely. You know, of course, we're a nonprofit. Donations are always welcome. We're lucky to have some pretty fantastic supporters, both inside and out of the legal community. But there are always opportunities to donate your time and your money. And, you know, again, avlf.org will have any link that you would need for any way to participate. And again, it's, you know, there are a lot of law students, a lot of legal professionals who can, you know, not necessarily attorneys, who can contribute their time, and we have information on our website about that as well. And
the state bar actually encourages all of us as attorneys to do that. So if you take one case a year or two cases a year, you know, to help out with that, it takes, I guess, what I call your reasonable service, your time to kind of give a little something back for everything that's been given to you. I think that's true, and I think that I think one of the most fun parts of my job is seeing other people doing that and feeling that desire to give back and contribute. I mean, we as attorneys have special skills that, you know, we can do things that no one else can do, honestly. Absolutely. And so while there are many ways to give back, I mean, using that really gift that we have as attorneys is a pretty powerful thing to do. And I see people who take our cases and they're just blown away by, you know, that client interaction and something that may be so different from what they do on a normal basis, but really seeing how amazing it is and how they can impact a person's life. It can be a little addictive, I think. Yeah, I think, you get it one time, I think you're hooked. You're absolutely right on that. So AVLF.org gives us all the contact information that we can to find you, whether we need services or whether we want to actually volunteer as a lawyer or a non-lawyer. That's right. Okay, is there any topics that we didn't cover that AVLF talks about or does that you think that would be great for the public to know about? Because we talked about quite a bit. You have domestic violence and Saturday lawyers. We got volunteer lawyers for everything along the vein. You do eviction defense. You can get a will and probate matters, and little kiddies have attorneys and all of that. And we don't do criminal law. We get a lot of calls for that. The criminal law is just off the table. It's civil law only. Okay, well that's good information to know. So that's a public defender role if you can do that. Now, did we talk about what is the income requirements for AVLF?
We are aimed at low-income individuals, although for the protective orders, the Safe Families Office, we have no income requirements at all.
Okay.
Everyone who walks into the courthouse is eligible. Everyone for our other programs, I believe it's up to 200% of poverty level.
Okay. And are there other resources out there that the public can tap into? I know you said Partnership Against Domestic Violence helps you out some. Are there other resources that the public can go to for some of the types of services that you offer?
Absolutely. I would say you can always check out Atlanta Legal Aid. They have offices, unlike ourselves, we're primarily Fulton, a little bit of Clayton.
Okay.
They have offices in downtown Atlanta, Cobb County, Gwinnett, and DeKalb.
Okay.
And they can help with a lot of different issues, a lot of which we also do.
Okay.
There is the Georgia Law Center for the Homeless, which is a great resource also for evictions.
Now let's talk about that. What is the Georgia Law Center for the Homeless? What do they do?
I know probably too much because I used to work there, but they help people who are homeless or within 7 days of being homeless, which is eviction basically. If you've gotten a notice on your door, you're within 7 days of homelessness by legal standards, and they can help you with your eviction defense as well.
Right.
They also do employment and some Social Security work and wage claims and things like that.
Okay, great resources.
Family law.
Okay. Any other resources that we need to know about?
The one other one I would say is maybe the Georgia Justice Project. If you are looking for, then there aren't a lot of places that do pro bono criminal work because there is a public defender system. But Georgia Justice Project is one of those places, so they're a good resource even for questions that you might have about your case. But that's who I would send you to.
Great information. Thank you so much, Liz, for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
And for all the great information and all the great work. We thank you so much for everything that the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation is doing. And we believe that after this show airs, you're going to get a whole bunch of new volunteer attorneys that come out and help you with that mission. Ladies and gentlemen, as we said, December is Resources Month, and we've introduced you to several organizations who provide legal services for you, so in areas that are very critical, whether it's eviction, defense, consumer law, wills and probates, helping with the children, your domestic violence. We encourage you to take advantage of all of these organizations that are out there. We'll have links on our website to all those organizations so that you can get further information from them. Remember that Legally Speaking happens every Sunday at 6, and we keep the current show up for the entire week, and then it goes into our archive. So if you've missed any episodes of Legally Speaking, you can find them right there on our website on www.youandthelawtoday.org. And remember, until next time, with every right comes responsibilities. So know your rights and accept your responsibilities. We'll see you next week.